When it comes to robots, most people think of artificial intelligence, computers, and the modern machines of the 20th or 21st century. We often believe that robots are a product of electronic technology, while ancient humans only had simple tools and relied on manual labor. But history tells a different story. Thousands of years before electricity, before the invention of the motor, and even before modern science, humans created machines capable of self-propulsion. There were humanoid robots, autonomous vehicles, mechanical musicians, and machines that could write according to pre-programmed instructions. Amazingly, many of these technologies aren't myths. They actually exist. And that leads to an interesting question. If the idea of robots emerged thousands of years ago, how well do we really understand our past? To find the first traces of robots in history, we must go back to ancient China. In a text recorded centuries ago, there is a famous story about an artisan named Yanxi and his encounter with King Mu of the Zhou dynasty. According to records, Yanxi presented the emperor with a special person. At first glance, its appearance was exactly like that of an ordinary human being. This robot could stand, walk, and perform various movements. What astonished the emperor even more was that it could blink, move its head, and react in ways that seemed to indicate it was alive. Legend has it that when Yanxi opened up the robot's body, complex mechanisms resembling the organs of the human body were revealed inside. This story is often considered one of the earliest depictions of the robot concept in human history. Of course, many historians argue that much of the story may have been exaggerated over generations of retelling. There is no archaeological evidence to suggest that a fully functional robot, as described, actually existed at that time. However, that doesn't mean the entire story is impossible. From ancient times, humans knew how to use relatively simple mechanical mechanisms such as levers, wheels, ropes, and moving parts based on mechanical force. Systems using springs, counterweights, or mechanical cams could produce repetitive movements such as nodding, turning, or moving limbs. While not as human-like as in legends, these simple automatic mechanisms were entirely within the technical capabilities of that era. Therefore, the true value of the Yanxi story doesn't lie in whether the robot actually existed as described. Its value lies in something deeper. It shows that from a very early age, humans began to imagine the possibility of creating an object that could move on its own and mimic their own behavior. That idea emerged over 2,000 years ago, and although it still retains a mythical quality, it marked the birth of a dream that would accompany humanity for centuries to come. But a few hundred years later, that dream began to emerge from legend to become real machines. Although the story of Yanxi is largely legendary, it reveals an idea that emerged very early in human history, and a few centuries later, that idea began to be transformed into real machines by an inventor living in the ancient city of Alexandria. That inventor was Heron. Heron is considered one of the most brilliant engineers of the ancient world. He not only studied mathematics and mechanics, but also created many devices that are still astonishing even today. One of Heron's most famous inventions was the vending machine. When a user inserted a coin into the device, an internal mechanism would activate and dispense a certain amount of holy water. This is considered one of the first vending machines in history. Heron also designed temple doors that could open and close automatically. When priests performed rituals, the heat from the fire altered the air pressure inside the sealed system, thereby activating pulleys and counterweights to operate the doors. To the people of that time, this phenomenon was almost like magic. But the most remarkable invention is the mechanically driven self-driving vehicle. These devices can move on their own along a predetermined route without direct human control. The mechanism relies on gravity, ropes, wheels, and a system of wires arranged in specific sequences. What's special is that the builder can change the way the wires are wound to make the car perform different movements. It can turn left, turn right, stop, or change direction according to a pre-planned scheme. In the modern sense, this isn't yet programming using code, but essentially, it's a form of mechanical programming. The machine's behavior is predetermined by the arrangement of its internal mechanisms. That is why many technology historians view Heron's devices as the first steps on the path to the concept of modern programming. And from Heron's story, we realize something important. Robots don't necessarily need electricity, microchips, or artificial intelligence. A machine only needs to be able to perform a predetermined sequence of actions without constant human intervention. But if Heron laid the first bricks for automation, the medieval Islamic world would take this idea much further. If Heron proved that machines could perform programmed actions, then centuries later, the Islamic world would take those ideas to a whole new level. At the heart of this revolution was Baghdad, one of the most developed cities in the world during the Middle Ages. In the 9th century, the three Banu Musa brothers became renowned scientists and engineers of their time. They studied mathematics, astronomy, and mechanics, and left behind a book describing a series of automated devices with an astonishing level of sophistication. One of the most famous devices was the mechanical flutist. This machine could produce sound through a system of air channeled through tubes and controlled by internal mechanical mechanisms. Although not a real musician, it showed that humans had begun to find ways to make machines mimic behaviors that were previously unique to humans. Banu Musa also designs automated serving devices, capable of dispensing water or beverages in predetermined sequences. When a certain condition occurs, internal valves open or close, allowing the liquid to move in the exact way the designer desires. Furthermore, they created fountains that could automatically change the shape of the water flow without constant human operation. For that era, these were truly astonishing displays of technology. The unique aspect lies in its operating mechanism. Instead of using electricity or motors, these devices operate based on water pressure, airflow, control valves, and cleverly designed mechanical cams. These principles allow the machine to react in ways that closely resemble a pre-programmed sequence. This also reminds us of an often forgotten fact. For centuries, Baghdad was one of the world's most important centers of science and technology. Many ideas about automation, mechanical control, and intelligent machines originated there long before they became widespread in Europe. And these achievements demonstrate that the history of robotics is not the story of a single civilization. It's a journey spanning centuries and diverse regions. But the next generation will bring automated machines closer than ever before to the concept of modern robotics. Banu Musa's machines demonstrated that automation could go far beyond simple mechanisms. But it wasn't until the 12th century that a Mesopotamian engineer took this idea to a new level. That man was Al-Jazari, one of the most influential inventors in the history of mechanics. Al-Jazari worked at the Artukid court and spent years studying how to combine mechanics, hydraulics, and automation. The devices he described in his writings were not just amazing objects. They began to exhibit characteristics that we today might associate with robots. One of his most famous inventions was an automatic orchestra on a boat. This system consisted of numerous mechanical figures arranged like a real band. As the boat moved, or the internal mechanisms operated, the figures would play drums, strum instruments, and create pre-arranged rhythms. What's special is that the operator can change the position of the mechanical pins inside the system to create different rhythms. In a sense, this is like changing the robot's operating program. Al-Jazari also designed many other mechanical figures capable of serving or performing repetitive actions. They were incapable of thought, but could execute pre-designed tasks with an astonishing degree of precision for their time. Besides its robot performers, Al-Jazari is also famous for its elephant clock, one of the most complex timekeeping devices of the Middle Ages. This clock incorporated many synchronized automatic mechanisms to tell the time using the movement of figures and mechanical parts. He also developed an automatic hand sanitizer dispenser. When a user uses water, a mechanical figure automatically appears to provide a towel. This is not just a technical demonstration but a practical application serving everyday needs. In addition, Al-Jazari designed various types of mechanical cryptographic locks and many other complex control mechanisms. But perhaps his most important contribution lies in a less noticed detail: the clear description and use of the crankshaft in mechanical devices. Today, the crankshaft is a fundamental component in countless types of machinery and engines. It helps convert rotational motion into translational motion, or vice versa. This is one of the foundational principles of modern mechanical engineering. Therefore, Al-Jazari was not just the creator of performing robots. He was an engineer, who helped lay the foundation for many mechanical principles that are still in use hundreds of years later. And then, an interesting shift began to emerge. Humans were no longer satisfied with building machines that could move. They began to want to create something that resembled real living beings. After centuries of development, automated machines became increasingly sophisticated. They could play music, serve humans, and perform pre-programmed sequences of actions. But in the 18th century, a French inventor took this ambition in a completely different direction. He didn't just want to create machines that could move. He wanted to create something that looked like life. That man was Jacques de Vaucanson. Vaucanson is famous for a series of mechanical robots that shocked Europe. He created a flutist capable of actually producing music by manipulating the airflow through the flute holes, much like how humans play musical instruments. He also created a drummer that could perform complex rhythms thanks to an extremely sophisticated system of gears, mechanical cams, and levers. But the invention that made his name immortal was the famous mechanical duck. At first glance, this duck appears to be just a showpiece. It can flap its wings, move its neck, and move its head like a real duck. However, what truly amazes the audience is what happens next. A duck can eat food that is placed in its mouth. Then, it performs movements similar to the digestive process. Finally, it excretes a substance similar to animal waste. Today, we know that the internal mechanism didn't actually replicate the complete process of biological digestion. But for contemporaries, this was almost unbelievable. For the first time, a machine not only mimicked the external movements of a living organism, but also attempted to simulate the internal functions of the body. This was a pivotal turning point in thinking. For thousands of years, humans built machines to assist in labor or create interesting mechanical effects. But with Vaucanson, the goal changed. Humans no longer want to create just machines. Humans began to want to create living organisms. That was the moment when the lines between biology and mechanics began to blur. And from that dream, one of the most incredible machines in history would soon emerge. A machine that could not only move but also write like a human. From Vaucanson's dream of mimicking living organisms, European mechanical engineers took another step forward. They didn't just want to create machines that could move. They wanted to create machines capable of performing actions considered manifestations of human intelligence. One of the most remarkable achievements of this period came from Pierre Jaquet-Droz, an 18th century Swiss craftsman and inventor. His most famous work is simply called The Copyist. At first glance, it's a mechanical boy sitting at a writing desk. But when activated, the machine dips a pen into ink, moves its arm, and writes complete lines of text on paper. What amazes technology historians isn't that it can write. What's amazing is that it can be programmed. Inside the machine are approximately 6,000 mechanical parts working in unison. The operator can change some of the control mechanisms so that the machine writes different sentences instead of repeating. For the 18th century, this was an idea that was almost ahead of its time. Looking back at the history of technology, many researchers realize that machines like the syllable man are not just strange toys that appear and disappear. They are part of a continuous evolution of programming thinking. From Jaquet-Droz's mechanical control mechanisms, humans continued to develop pattern-based control systems. Later, punched cards appeared in Jacquard looms, where the holes on the card determined the machine's behavior. This very idea, in turn, influenced the first calculating machines of the 19th and 20th centuries. Then, from mechanical computers, humans moved on to electronic computers. From electronic computers, we progressed to software, the internet, and modern artificial intelligence. Therefore, when we look at Jaquet-Droz's Scribbler, we are not just looking at an ancient robot. We are seeing a link in a journey spanning hundreds of years that led to the technological world we know today. Ancient robots are not a dead end of history. They are the earliest ancestors of the technological revolution in which we live every day. Looking back at this entire journey, we see something very interesting. From the robots of Yanshi's legends, Heron's automated machines, the sophisticated inventions in Baghdad, Al-Jazari's performance robots, Vaucanson's mechanical duck, to Jaquet-Droz's scribes, all appeared in different eras. belonging to different civilizations and separated by thousands of kilometers. But they all pursued the same dream. It's about creating something that can move on its own, something that can mimic human behavior. Now, and finally, something that could be even more human-like. This shows that robots are not an invention of modern technology. Robots are a very ancient idea. Before electricity, before computers, and before artificial intelligence, humans have always wondered whether they could create artificial life. And that very question continues to this day. However, perhaps the biggest lesson of this story doesn't lie in the machines themselves. Every time we see an ancient robot with thousands of gears, levers, and complex mechanisms, we are amazed by the ingenuity of its creator. We understand that such a sophisticated machine cannot appear out of nowhere. It requires the design, calculation, and arrangement of an intelligent mind. But then, let's take a look at the human body itself. The heart works tirelessly for decades. The brain contains billions of neural connections. The eyes have the ability to process light far more sophisticatedly than many modern cameras. The immune system can identify and fight off countless threats that we are unaware of. If even a simple mechanical device inspires admiration for its creator, could the human body, with its almost unimaginable complexity, be prompting us to consider an even greater form of intelligence? Each person will have their own answer to that question, but whether viewed from a scientific, philosophical, or spiritual perspective, there is one thing worth pondering. Perhaps humans were not born only to create increasingly intelligent machines. Perhaps humans also need to learn to understand themselves more. When we understand that we are part of a larger set of laws, we will appreciate life more, live in harmony with nature, and treat those around us with more kindness. While technology may make life more convenient, only compassion, morality, and goodness can truly propel a civilization forward. And perhaps humanity's most important journey isn't about creating a perfect artificial intelligence, but about becoming better human beings, worthy of the miraculous gift we are receiving every day. In your opinion, are modern robots the pinnacle of technology, or merely the latest chapter in a dream that has spanned thousands of years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more stories from history, science, and thought-provoking mysteries about humanity itself.